Tony Khan versus Jinder Mahal, the feud the wrestling world never knew that it needed until Tuesday, as Tony Khan took aim not only at Jinder Mahal, but WWE, Eric Bischoff, perhaps others as well. Let's talk about some more Twitter drama. AEW versus WWE. Let's talk about it here on Wrestling Reaction. All right, so we're gonna get straight to it. If you haven't seen it, which I'm sure you have, but I'm just curious what you guys think, which is why I'm doing a video on this. But so Tony Khan took to Twitter, and this is, of course, the setup on Raw this past week was Jinder Mahal is going to challenge Seth Rollins for the world title next week on Raw. And of course, Jinder has been a featured attraction in recent weeks. He was in the promo with The Rock. Then he becomes, again, the next challenger to Seth Rollins' championship. So Tony Khan took to Twitter on Tuesday afternoon, and you can see the tweet on the screen. I've got screenshots for these, and I'm just going to read them, okay, word for word, which, again, you've probably seen these, but I think if you read them out loud, it maybe adds a little more. So Tony Khan tweeted a double standard. He tagged Hook here, who has a career 28-1 record on a winning streak, calls out the champ, and a logical challenge sparks online outrage. Then he says Jinder has literally lost every single match he's in for the past year. Immediately gets a title shot. Where is the rage? Hashtag AEW Dynamite tomorrow on TBS. All right, we didn't stop there though. We continued on. USA Network tweeted something on January the 8th. And by the way, I just randomly saw this. Like I don't try to stay on Twitter a lot, but maybe more so these days because there is more interesting stuff, perhaps. But Tony Khan tweeted. USA Network had replied to something asking what the cage match rating was. I think it was, obviously we know what that response was referring to in terms of Tony Khan, referring to cage match and stuff in the past. I think it was in response to a tweet from Raj Giri on something about Seth Rollins versus Jinder Mahal. I don't remember the exact context, but Tony Khan quote tweeted that a moral victory for USA is one more win than their world title challenger Jinder Mahal has in the past 364 days. I'm sorry, I'm laughing as I go through this because I'm like, Tony Khan again versus Jinder Mahal. Who would have ever thought? Like, if you had your 2024 bingo card, Tony Khan versus Jinder Mahal, would it have ever in any way, shape, or form been on there? I don't think it would have been on mine. And continuing on, because it's been literally a full year since you won a match, you really put AEW in our place, getting Jinder Mahal in a big match on your TV show. Do it more often. Okay, so there's one more I'm going to add in here, and this was pertaining to Eric Bischoff, and we know these two have had their feuding in the past on Twitter and elsewhere. Bischoff had tagged Tony Khan, "Hey Tony Khan, is this true or is it a bot?" It was in response to something about someone saying that Abaddon, received a championship match recently and all that in AEW, and Tony Khan quote tweeted that, "No, at Eric Bischoff. Not true at all. Abaddon returned to AEW, then won a four-way match on TNT against other great wrestlers to earn a title shot, which is completely different than someone going a full year losing every match they're in, plus getting a title shot without a single win." All right, so that's all we're going with right now because I'm sure there are replies, there are a lot of other replies, and all that. We're just not going to get into all those. Let's just stick to those main three there. It's interesting, right? Like, pro wrestling is a world built off of promos, and just engaging back and forth and all this other stuff, in addition to the actual wrestling, right? But this is just one where I don't even know how to respond anymore, because I feel like this is something where you are going to get very strong opinions on either side. And I know that there are people out there that support WWE that don't want AEW to succeed. I know there are people out there that support AEW that don't want WWE to succeed. I know there are people out there in the middle in terms of, hey, they just want all pro wrestling to succeed, which is where I fall. Like, I'm just like, hey, if pro wrestling is doing well financially, if it's doing well, all those things, that's good because more people are watching wrestling. There's more opportunity, all those things. So in that regard, like, this is pro wrestling. Like, Tony Khan essentially on Twitter with these tweets is, I don't know, is he playing a pro wrestling character? Some people may say that. Other people may just say this is just the way it works, because we've seen some examples of these in the past with all that. But I just find the whole thing, it's entertaining. Like, I will say that. I mean, I know there are people are going to say, well, Tony Khan should not be doing this. And again, if you're looking at this from that example, right, it is hard to imagine, that Tony Khan, in the position he's in, should be able to do something like this and sort of take aim at WWE and all that. But again, I mean, this is pro wrestling, and we have seen over the years, right? Go back to the days with the WWF and WCW. Think about all the shots that were taken in the Monday Night Wars and many other promotions even before that. You can go back to many other eras. Even before the Monday Night Wars, like whether it's WWF, doing WrestleMania and cutting off potential access to anyone who aired Clash of Champions in the WCW / Jim Crockett Promotions. If you go back and look at some of that stuff, this has been going on for a while now. This is a completely different level because it's like we have social media and everything. But I don't know what to say about this. It's just, I just think the absurdity of it all is the fact that Jinder Mahal has become the center of the universe here in pro wrestling, thanks to this tweet from Tony Khan. There are so many little tiny things that you could kind of go into on this. And I'm sure me even just doing a video about it, like, why did I do this? Like, it's just, I know they're going to be strong opinions one way or the other, but I am curious what you guys think, because sometimes it's easy to get lost, like in the Twitter discourse. And, again, there's so much extreme one way or the other that it's really hard to kind of get an idea of what people think about maybe when Tony Khan does the kind of tweets where he adds in WWE or takes a shot. And you can say in the USA Network tweet, like, hey, that's fair game, right? Like, everyone knew what the cage match rating, asking about that. That's a direct shot at Tony Khan. So if Tony Khan wants to respond, he's a grown man. He can respond. He can do whatever he wants. But bringing up the Jinder Mahal thing out of nowhere, I don't know. Like, that just kind of came out of nowhere. It did. And it did reference kind of the online outrage towards Hook and why there was an outrage towards Jinder. I just don't know why that should be a concern for Tony Khan. What does it matter? Like, it has nothing to do with his product. The fact that Jinder Mahal is getting a world heavyweight championship match. So I think those are the kind of things. And again, you are talking about someone who's in an executive role, and I don't know, but it's just, this is where we are. Like in 2024 in pro wrestling, it is a very entertaining time because you have WWE that is, business is just booming right now. And you've just got all of this back and forth regarding all this other stuff. Now, again, the Tony Khan Bischoff stuff, I will say, like, the one thing I said about this, like, I need that Tony Khan versus Eric Bischoff match more than I need anything. I mean, these two guys have been feuding for years now, it seems like, and at some point, we've got to get these two guys in a steel cage. I don't think we're going to get Tony Khan versus Jinder Mahal, as you see on the screen, but that is kind of the basis for this entire conversation. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think about this Tony Khan bringing up Jinder Mahal? Is it just all fun and games? Like, is this just pro wrestling? We just look through the absurdity of it all and say, hey, it's entertainment. Tony Khan is playing to the crowd on wrestling. He's trending. Like, he's playing to the crowd on Twitter, however you want to see it. Like, I'm just curious what you guys think. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other, but I just think it is, again, it does not lack entertainment, even if it is easy to look at one side or the other and just say, and shake your head sometimes. So let me know what you think about this whole situation with Tony Khan starting an AEW versus WWE Twitter drama has continued. And this time is Tony Khan hindering Jinder. So you don't hinder Jinder. That's the rule, right? So anyways, appreciate you guys watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. A lot of other videos on here that have nothing to do with Twitter drama or anything like that. We've been previewing Royal Rumble. We made predictions for those matches and all that other stuff. We've been talking about AEW, Deonna Purrazzo signing, Mercedes Moné potentially on the way. We'll have a Dynamite review as well. So a lot of fun stuff here on the channel here, a new channel we started in Wrestling Reactions. We appreciate all your support thus far and all your great feedback. So let me know what you think about this, and we'll talk to you again here soon at Wrestling.